Madam Clerk, will you please announce the public comments?
This is a time and place for public comments. A speaker card is available for those wishing to address the City Council regarding items on the agenda or on a subject within the city's jurisdiction. Speakers for public hearing items shall be called and heard during the public hearing. All remarks should be addressed to the council as a whole, and all documents for City Council and the official record should be presented to the City Clerk prior to speaking. Speakers are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Under state law, public comment matters may not be considered by the council unless listed on the agenda, but may be referred to the city manager for administrative follow-up. 8 individuals have presented cards, and pursuant to council standards, speakers are allowed 3 minutes, and the yellow light displays when you have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Our first speaker tonight will be Paige Nielsen. Welcome, Paige. Okay. Take your time. And Vitili Gissen. I hope I pronounced that right. If I didn't, you can correct me. Welcome, Paige.
Thank you.
You get 3 minutes tonight instead of 2.
I can't believe I'm first. Okay.
Just take a deep breath.
Thank you.
All
nice
right.
to see you all.
You too.
So we are concerned about the advice and counsel Mr. Kramer is giving you. There are hundreds of top scientists who have proven waves do harm to humans, despite what journalist, telecom industry, and Thousand Oaks wireless consultant attorney Jonathan Kramer says, that waves don't do harm. He said on March 5th, 2019, that every tower application in the last 34 years has crossed his desk. So he approved the cell towers on top of stoplights where school children cross the intersections. Did he approve cell towers hidden in the Los Robles Regional Medical Center or in the parks and churches too? Why does he keep saying that non-ionizing radiation cannot affect human beings? What world is he living in, withholding truth and scientific facts from all of you and the residents? We are too smart to believe one view of something, especially when it comes to protecting our children, families, pets, environment, and property values. Does his firm believe that making poor decisions is the truth and that it's protecting us? We aren't giving up. We aren't going away. We will continue speaking up for everyone else in our community who are afraid to public speak or unable to come here because of work and family. My advice to all is to listen to Dr. Trevor Marshall, who lives in our community and is a known and respected worldwide renowned. He has shared his knowledge the last 2 times at the council meetings. He is peer-reviewed, published in both wireless engineering and human biology, and has been a member of several clinical research teams, as well as holding patents for a therapy called the Marshall Protocol to cure people from chronic disease. Some people initially said it was quackery, but with 20 years of success behind him and his teams, the patent-operated technology is being run by the people whose lives it saved. Please listen to the experts like Dr. Marshall and other doctors and scientists who have been coming here at every city council meeting, educating all of us. We requested a second meeting with Congressman Julia Brownley. She is getting back to me about that, about all this 5G topic, to hold a town hall meeting. We are asking you to please hold a public hearing informing our citizens of what is happening with these towers. We would like to meet with you still. We're still trying to sit down. I know with the Brown Act, you can't 2 and 2 talk, but we would just like some response back to please, we're running out of time before these pop up. I was down Thousand Oaks Boulevard and I saw new antennas up on top of the light posts, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe it because I know we don't have any 5G, but I believe it's 4G. And I have meters that I've purchased that I'm going to go out and read the readings, so I'll come back to you with what the readings are. Many people are calling all of us that have been here, contacting us by email and asking for help. They don't know what to do, so that's why we're asking if we could please meet with you, have a public hearing. Those who have nothing to hide nothing. We are here with all the experts to just please tell our community.
We give you an extra minute. You got to stay on time, everybody.
I didn't see the beat.
Thank you. And by the way, folks, just to let you know, there's a letter that went out to Dianne Feinstein, Kamala Harris, both our senators, and Congresswoman Julia Brownley. So it's on behalf of the city, signed by me. It'll be up on the fax page. I think you'll appreciate it. Vitali, is that how we say your name? I'm sorry, friend.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
My name is Vitaly Gissin, and from my name you can hear that I'm not fully American. I spent half of my life outside of the United States, so I think I have a fresh vision and understanding of what is maybe good, what is maybe not. So two things that really prompted me to be here today. Number one is due to the nature of my lifestyle. Oftentimes, I have to leave my house for a few days, maybe up to a week, maybe sometimes 2 weeks. Every time I come back, my entire house is decorated by annoying ads everywhere, like plastic bags, little ads stuck to my door. So I really feel that this is a problem because essentially that creates a very obvious image that this house is unoccupied. And I have no way of stopping this because technically anybody who can stop by, he can stick. And there is a mailbox for things like that. This is printed materials. I understand belongs to USPS, so they can legally use that. But what I did, I basically asked citizens around Newbury Park if we have enough supporters. And surprisingly enough, quite a significant number, probably around 50, more than 50% people agreed that it probably would be a great idea to do something about this. Because, you know, if people want to advertise certain things, might as well put a stamp and send it through the mail. But trashing my house I should be illegal to some degree. So that is issue number one. I'm here. And number two is, I mean, of course, it's coincidental. I read on the agenda that there is a change in the policy or that's to be considered in regards to use of public spaces for homeless people. I am very sympathetic to the fact that some people may be unemployed or homeless. But I think what is important for us is to use common sense. Because definitely some people require help, and we definitely can help, and we should help as a society. But at the same time, we should not be blandly giving that green light to everybody. We have to really try to screen, and we have to really do the best we can to help these people. If we cannot establish strong enough programs, maybe then we should work on these programs. But just letting these people sleep outside everywhere gonna make this wonderful, clean, family-friendly neighborhood into something that is already happening in the streets of San Francisco or downtown Los Angeles. It's a really shame to see that. When I invite my friends from outside of the United States to see San Francisco, they look at Market Street like, what's going on? Is this normal? I don't think it is. But somebody let it happen, and I think if we make the change that is on the agenda today, there is a good chance that Thousand Oaks is going to become like this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Well, we just broke the magical 20 marker, so we're down to 2 minutes for public comments. Our next speaker will be Audrey Bruckner, and then following Audrey will be Michael Hernandez. Welcome.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
I'm sure that as local government representatives, you want to make the best decisions for your constituents. The choices you make now will have a huge impact upon future generations. For example, let's say the city wants to create a park within a neighborhood. Would you tell the taxpayers who live in that neighborhood that they have no choice about the park? That they are not allowed to discuss their concerns about the traffic which will be generated as a result? Of course, this would never happen in a progressive community like Thousand Oaks. But isn't this exactly what the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, is doing with its mandatory rollout of 5G? They are not allowing anyone to discuss health issues, which is a huge concern for people. Is the FCC doing this because they don't have the answers? Could it be that they are so weak in this area that they cannot afford to be transparent with the public, that too much is at stake? Could this be why they are in such a rush to install the equipment before it is carefully researched out? Does this strong-armed approach resonate with the philosophy of the founding fathers of our great nation? The 5G rollout is backed by big investors to the tune of trillions upon trillions of dollars. That's a lot of money to be made or wasted, depending on how you view this project. 5G requires 20,000 satellites to be fully activated globally. This is a new technology which has never been proven safe. Shouldn't the burden of proof be on the FCC? How can we possibly support such a flawed project? There must be a reason why Belgium, Israel, and the Vatican have all banned 5G. Currently, the telecom industry, the driving force behind the FCC, far exceeds the pharmaceutical industry in wealth and power. Let us change the modern-day golden rule from he who has the gold makes the rules back to the one of universal truth. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Let this be our motto as we unite in peaceful solidarity and co-create a plan that works for every single person in our community so that they can thrive on all levels. Can this be done? Absolutely. Hold that vision. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Hernandez, followed by Ellen.
I do have some things I'm going to show, so I'll put the first one up. I'll be showing a couple things as I speak. Hi, I'm Mike Hernandez, President and CEO of History Makers International, a Thousand Oaks community nonprofit. History Makers is called to heal the breaches in history, connect generations past, present, and future, call forth the next generation to become light in the city, and call the next generation to rebuild, raise up, repair, and restore the city gates. I would like to give special thanks to Mayor Rob McCoy for opening up Godspeed Calvary to serve youth and families through the Thousand Oaks Youth Leadership Academy, which begins each Thursday in June with a 6 p.m. family barbecue. Now, let me introduce you to a new leadership program, 1 year in the making, designed by History Makers International, the Thousand Oaks Youth Leadership Academy for middle school and high school students. You can see we have 4 major topics: an introduction to leadership, freedom, true liberty, morality and character, the birth of a nation, servant leadership, past, present, future. You'll be seeing some of these participants at future City Council meetings in June. Our youth will also be involved in 4 hours of community service and have a chance to tour City Hall. I'd like to commend City Council for their sponsorship of the Thousand Oaks Youth Commission that gives an opportunity for youth in our community to serve other youth. 2 of our leaders of that commission are graduating this year. I also want to commend Adult Youth Commissioner Pete Martinez for winning a national award for his work with youth. Next, I would like to commend Bob Engler for representing the City of Thousand Oaks at the Rotary Club of Thousand Oaks 33rd Annual Youth Citizenship Award Program held May 16th. Finally, I would like to issue a City Council challenge. Will you nominate and sponsor 2 youth candidates to attend the Thousand Oaks Youth Leadership Academy? Thank you again for your faithful service to our community and for supporting the youth of Thousand Oaks.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Ellen, you're up, and then Tanya.
Hello. Please, I would like you to improve and update the 2064 vision to protect rather than harm public health. In light of the established science of wireless radiation effects and the lack of safety testing of 5G, we need the city to set the priority for less and not more citywide radiation exposure. Page 12 of your 2064 report says that you are going to move towards becoming a smart and wireless connected city with complete wireless coverage. And then it repeats, and it says more complete wireless coverage. It then later says internet coverage for everyone. It says find ways to enhance internet availability throughout the community. Then read page 4 to maintain a quality of life, including public safety. It's to operate in an open and transparent manner, to maintain public trust and promote accountability to enhance the effectiveness of our city operations. We need that disclosure from you. We've been talking to you for months. It feels a bit underhanded that this hasn't come into the picture because we're working as a community for you here. We are trying to work together with you. The gentleman before me just spoke of children in the future. Those beautiful children were just here, intelligent, striving for their futures were here. We, all of us, have no right to take those children's futures away. That is largely in your control. Tracy Noonan, I'm partially talking to you specifically.
You can address you address your comments to the council, please.
Okay. Many people here have given you the knowledge to set up a system that makes it safe for us. We have no right to take away their future. And kids already, I just heard on 1070, a mainstream radio, a pediatrician was saying that children are coming into his office and he is observing symptoms of Alzheimer's disease that he believes are directly connected to the amount of wireless Wi-Fi and cell phone usage. Children at a pediatrician's office. Already it has been established that most everyone here, because of our radiation exposure, are going to start having symptoms of Alzheimer's before middle age. That's a crisis. So what's important here is to have a vibrant city, not a city full of wireless, fantastic things that are amazing what we can do. But there's no one there to use it in a healthy manner. That doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Tanya, followed by Mandy Jacob. Is Tanya here?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, come on.
Oh, sorry.
Red Rover, come on over.
Okay. Hello, City
Hello.
Council. You might have to focus a little bit more because I have an accent and I might have to do some speed reading.
It's okay.
So, here we go. So this speech is to prove to you that the City of Thousand Oaks can amend their ordinance just like all the other cities in California and the Western United States. A wonderful resolution has been adopted by the City of Portland. Not only did they take a stand to protect their residents, but they requested that the federal government update studies on the potential health risks of 5G radio frequency wireless emissions and publish the findings. Here's the powerful opening statement from the City of Eugene, Oregon. Many people believe that the federal government, through FCC regulations, can impose those regulations on the City of Eugene. They believe that because of the FCC, 5G in Eugene is inevitable. This is not true. The Supreme Court of the United States has come up with what they call the anti-commandeering doctrine, which in essence says that the federal government cannot make states, their subdivisions, or offices comply with any federal programs. Hundreds of cities are suing the FCC on this very principle. Another example is Danville, California. On March 5th, 2019, a large number of citizens of Danville stood up and spoke against Verizon, and the town council listened. The Danville Town Council voted 4-1 to deny a land use permit for Verizon. Below you will find two excerpts, one from the statements of FCC Commissioner Ajit Pai, sorry for the mispronunciation, dissenting from his own agency by overthrowing state jurisdiction. The Supreme Court agreed with him and the FCC lost the case. Here's an excerpt from a 10th Amendment Center article explaining this principle in greater detail. We must all stop spreading the false rumor that states and cities have to comply with FCC rules. Instead, start spreading the word about the anti-commandeering doctrine and demand that the City Council make Eugene a 5G smart meter-free zone. So in closing, I just want to say that speaking up does make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And your accent wasn't hard to understand at all. Mandy, you have one too. South African, right?
Sorry.
That's all right. Mandy, you're up, and then following Mandy will be Krista Pedersen. Hello.
Hi, City Council members. Thank you for hearing me week after week. I just wanted to say for the record that none of the EMF people, there were about 8 last time, none of them can make it this evening. So just that Public Records knows they wanted to be here, but those kind of people take 3 or 4 days to recuperate. So unfortunately, they won't be here. I had a very interesting conversation with someone. I don't know, every week I keep saying, let's not lose local control, and we keep bringing up all these wonderful cities that have done things still within the means of the FCC guidelines, but now we're actually lagging behind the Ventura County cities. As you know, Ventura County now has put a 1,500 foot setback on their residential areas. Camarillo's done 600 feet, and a friend of mine has a business in Ventura, and she said to me, "Oh, that's new. I didn't know about that. Maybe my husband and I should move to Ventura City." And that's just, when I first spoke to you, that was the first thing I said. All health issues aside, we're worried about housing prices. Just like Sonoma County, they experienced a 25% drop in their housing prices. That boils down to lower tax rates for the city, and then there ends up being this mass exodus. And so we're already seeing this happen. And that's what I keep asking. Please, can we be the point of most resistance? And like we keep asking, just 3 lines to the ordinance would help suffice without getting the telecoms upset, and by applying the same thing to the FCC. So that was really interesting.
Would you repeat that, please?
The ordinances that we've been asking for would just literally be about 3 lines, and by doing that, we wouldn't upset the telecom. So I know as a city council, we're worried about being sued like we were with Verizon, so we wouldn't bring that up again. And then again, we'd be making the FCC happy, because we'd be either doing the ordinance through we just amend it. So it's okay, 3 lines. The other thing that I wanted to add to that is we keep talking about the 9th District Circuit Court. Again, if that fails, and the FCC fails in that, and they have already 1 out of 1, so hopefully it'll be 3 out of 3. It's, again, another issue for the city, because people like this who are forced to leave, like those EMF people that's sensitive, they're going to come back and sue the city, and then you're up again for damages and negligence. So not only do we have a lower tax bracket now to pull from, we've got more liabilities on the city. So I just keep saying you do have local control, and please now, even the cities here in Ventura County are moving. If we could move as well, that would be great. And finally, I found out via social media that there are now 2 law firms that are taking action against the city of Thousand Oaks. And this was exactly what I asked. We don't want a tidal wave coming. Can we please start speaking? We've been asking for 3 months. We're so ready to come and talk to you guys. We have, I'm not qualified, but there are much more qualified people that would like to talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy. Krista, followed by Wanda. Help me with that last name. Wanda Callio. Okay. You're after Krista. Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, City Council members. My name's Krista Pedersen. Thank you for hearing me speak tonight. My family has resided in Thousand Oaks since the sheep were still being herded down Thousand Oaks Boulevard. I love my city. I'm proud of my city. I've never been to one of these meetings before, but when I read about the fact that other cities have thwarted 5G and our city still hasn't made moves to follow suit, I wanted to come speak with you. The city is hiding behind the false idea that they have no option, according to the FCC. I'm here tonight to present you with some hope. We do, in fact, have many available options to us, the most important being the 10th Amendment. This was specifically written to ensure that there's no overreach of the government on the state. As you've been saying, you have, in effect, lost all of your authority through the FCC. Currently, applications for new installations of cell towers are made by Telecom via a Planning Commission public hearing. Now it seems as though all of your authority is lost because FCC has dictated that local agencies cannot put in place rules that have the effect of prohibiting wireless service, neither charge excessive processing fees nor refuse to accept batch application for multiple facilities. However, in Metro PCS versus San Francisco, the Ninth Circuit Court's 2005 decision defined the need for a wireless carrier to prove that a significant gap in coverage actually exists, and then directs the carrier to use the least intrusive means to close any significant gap. Herein lies the solution to your problem, because you can make the cell phone company prove that gap. Often, telecom companies apply for installations only to increase their network capacity for data usage and not for a significant gap in coverage. So not only do we have the 10th Amendment and this Metro PCS versus San Francisco, but we could pursue an aesthetic ordinance. Here's an astounding fact. It was admitted by Verizon CEO Lowell McAdam that in truth, the 5G cell towers only need to be 3,000 feet apart in order to avoid getting a significant gap in coverage. Applications made for cell towers every 3,000 feet would then decrease the cell towers from the estimated 5,000 by Jonathan Kramer, both your wireless consultant and an employee of Telecom Law, to about 500. That being said, we only have 140 4G towers currently, so we would still have the ability to pursue an aesthetic ordinance. You can go to mystreetmychoice.com for more details. Please, City Council members, I implore you to simply not throw up your hands and resign yourself to the FCC. Please put this issue on the agenda so we can vote on real solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Wanda, you're next, and then following Wanda will be Chase Rashid. There you go.
Wanda Callio from Thousand Oaks.
Welcome.
For 51 years plus. I just wanted to say that the FCC is overstepping its boundaries. Its efforts to fast-track the deployment of millions of new RF microwave antennas are an assault on local as well as state rights, as well as all the public. And if everyone agrees, they can just go to vcir.net, halt5g.com, and I allocate the rest of my time to whomever needs it.
Thank you, Wanda. Chase Rashid, followed by Vadim Manzos. Good evening, Chase.
Hi, thank you, Mayor and City Council. I'm here to talk about Charity Karaoke. It's an event put on by the Conejo Senior Volunteer Program. There's lots of charities participating. I'm going to be singing for SAFE, Senior Alliance for Empowerment. My mom is going to be singing for Harbor House. She's on the board of directors there, and you know, if anybody wants to donate to any of the charities, that would be greatly appreciated. The event is on August 11th at the Canyon in Agoura Hills, so thank you.
Wait. What song are you singing?
What You Won't Do for Love by Bobby Caldwell.
That's worth the price of admission. Thanks,
Thank
Chase.
you.
What's the name of the event, Mr. Mayor? Charity Karaoke.
Vadim, and then following Vadim will be Carol Tassetta. Welcome, Vadim.
Good evening, City Council members, Mayor. Last time I spoke and I realized that I forgot to provide my email, which is sagebees@gmail.com. And I'm repeating my offer to place my beehives near to the 4G towers to prove that they are negatively affecting on a bee's lives and brood development and overall health of the hives. And it's easy because, you know, number one, bee lives only 45 days in general in a summer, so then we all in 1.5 months will know how negative the impact is. And also, I was watching some YouTube videos about negative effects of 5G and 4G, and I wanted to share with you that my youngest daughter, who is 16 years old, a Newbury Park High School attendee, cheerleader, very healthy girl because she eats a lot of honeybee pollen, does chin-ups, push-ups, just name it, and she has constantly nose bleeding. And this week I found out that the main reason, because doctors have no clue. We took her to many different doctors. They had no explanation, firm explanation. So I'm started to think that it's a 4G effect. Yep, she can confirm, but she's too shy to show up and talk in front of so many people. Again, my offer stands firm. I can invest my beehives up to 5 to place them near 4G towers. Please contact me at sagebees@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Vadim. Carol Tessetta, followed by Lorena Sarvanatari.
Hi there.
Hello.
Mayor McCoy and City Council. And again, I'm nervous, my second time. It should get easier each time.
You're becoming like professional at
I
this.
am. When I was in med school back in the 80s, I spent some time at the CDC working on the Surgeon General's report, and I co-authored a chapter in the 1989 report on the Surgeon General, 25 years of progress, reducing the health consequences of smoking. Some of you might remember in 1964 was when the first Surgeon General's report came out about smoking, and it wasn't until 1972 that passive involuntary smoking, which we all call now secondhand smoking, was first discussed. And I remember distinctly because in the 70s, as a teenager, I would yell at my dad to smoke on the porch so that I wouldn't have to smell it. So somehow we had that message in the 70s. But it wasn't until 86 that the Surgeon General found exclusively that this was an issue. And now we don't even think twice about it. None of us are allowed to smoke here. And I mention this because I think that radiation, wireless radiation, non-ionizing radiation, is a very similar story. The FCC has outdated studies. I mean, they haven't studied humans much at all, certainly not children. And it might be 25, 30 years before we find out the effects of non-ionizing radiation. And it's just the way things go. Science and technology are often way, way ahead of people's beliefs. In fact, the chapter I co-authored was, I forgot. It's been so long. It was trends in public beliefs, attitudes, and opinions about smoking. So that was back in the 80s, and now people would laugh if we said secondhand smoke was a non-issue. The American Academy of Pediatrics, they know that children's skulls are thinner, absorb more radiation. I've unfortunately, as a pathologist, seen the insides of children, and I can attest that factually their organs are much smaller, they weigh less, and they're very, very vulnerable to everything from drugs to radiation to anything in the environment that's hurtful. And the American Academy of Pediatrics has called for the adoption of the precautionary principle to protect children and pregnant women from radiation emitted by cell phones and wireless devices. And a precautionary principle is a principle that can actually become law in Europe. We don't quite do it that way. But it implies that there's a social responsibility to protect the public from exposure to harm when scientific investigation has, reading my doctor's notes, has seen a plausible risk, I think. You can look it up.
You're going to have to put a caboose on the comment train here shortly. Your time's up.
Okay.
You have a final thought you want to?
No, just that our opinions we might, 30 years from now, God hoping we're all here, we might say, man, I'm glad we made that decision to not have cell towers in front of our homes. I hope that's a decision we can look back and make.
Thank you so much. Lorena, you're up next. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here again one more time. Hopefully this will be the last time, and hopefully we will get some results. And hopefully you should show mercy on us regarding 5G. So why then have we simply given up and hidden behind the FCC regulations? We have taken their doomsday approach on our beautiful city as a have-to, instead of being too strong and taking back our local authority. If we thought we had problems with the fires, then why would we allow at least 4,000 small cell towers to pop up everywhere, about 250 feet in front of our homes? when it has been proven that these towers are easily susceptible to fires? Have we forgotten so quickly? Now, did you know that cell phone manufacturers have issued warnings to shareholders, not customers, but shareholders, that they may eventually be held liable for the harm they have caused to their customers? Now, on top of that, also, the secondary medical insurance have told the wireless companies that they will not be providing coverage for anyone with problems coming out from the caused by the technology, cell phones and the towers. We need to write a protective wireless ordinance that will be in compliance with the FCC, but at the same time will be the aesthetic standards of ordinance to ensure that the city isn't hit by any fires or sued by liability of breaking ADA code, which is an Americans with Disabilities Act, not to mention the impending decrease in our property values. Please go to the website mystreetmychoice.com and sign the petition against the installation of 5G cell towers in front of your house. Plus, there is lots of information there to tell you about the scientifically proven health effects of these carcinogenic towers. And now I just wanted to show you a little device. We have gone by Boulder and Reno to test a tower that is there. And right now, it's green, so we are safe over here of radiation, but when it turns red, that means we're being exposed to microwave radiation. And if the person who invented this little apparatus is Dr. Trevor Marshall, and he has gone all across the country, not only across the country, but across the world, teaching people about protecting themselves from radiation emitting from the cell towers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have one more card, but the agenda item number wasn't listed, and it's for Angela Cordero. Did you want to speak on this topic? 5G, come on up. Hello.
Hi, I'm Angela. Hi, guys. Clearly I don't know anything about how to fill out a card.
It's okay.
Sorry.
You did great, other than just what you want to talk on.
And I'm more of a speak from the heart, so I don't have anything written down, but I appreciate each and every one of you, and everyone that's spoken is so articulate, and there's so much to talk about on the topic of 5G. I've been studying it for 3 years, and I'm going to get a little emotional because I moved to Thousand Oaks in July of last year, and in rapid succession we had Borderline and we had the wildfires, and just as we're coming out of that, I find out that we may be getting 5G. So I have a small daughter, and I was told that when you become a mom, you find inner strength that you don't know that you have. And on this topic, I'm finding my inner strength. And, we have that hashtag TO Strong. And I just really encourage you. It's hard to be the first. It's hard to be the first. It's hard to do what's right. But you have us, and you have each other, and we have each other. And I'm just praying for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you. Very kind words to conclude our public comments. Thank you so much. Well, that brings us to the consent calendar. You want some comments on that? Sorry.
Just a couple very, very brief. I know we have a long night ahead of us. Comments. One of the speakers mentioned charity karaoke. For those that aren't familiar with that event, it's a great fundraising event, and I encourage everyone to take a look and consider getting involved. Obviously, we've made a number of comments through the weeks that we've had speakers here, and I'm not going to go through the full host, but certainly for those that are perhaps new here, this evening. The reason that we have updated our ordinance and every other city across the state and the country is doing so is because of actions taken by the FCC in February of this year that changed the law of the land. And so the ordinance that the council has taken into effect here is similar to those taken across the state of California and across the country, attempting to put as many protections in place as they can within the confines of the law. I want to encourage everyone here, and I know some of you have been great advocates at lobbying the federal government and our senators, members of Congress, the FCC. It is making an impact. As Mayor McCoy mentioned, he sent yet another letter. The city has been fighting against these types of usurpations of local control for many years. And as I've said in previous weeks, it's really, really important to continue to keep that pressure as difficult as it is in Washington, D.C. They are the ones that can change this law. And we want to see it change, just like everyone else that works in municipal government in California. So we have a section on our website that has all that contact information. It has a lot of FAQs on this issue, toaks.org/wireless. I encourage you to continue to take a look at that. One other thing I wanted to mention is at the previous meeting, we had folks pointing out some specific areas of town where they thought they'd seen 5G installations. I did have our public works crews go around and take a look at those areas. Each of those spots, especially the ones on Canaan Road, those are all gas company smart meters that have been installed on Edison poles. So that is not telecommunications technology from the telecommunications providers, but it is certainly technology that is providing smart metering for the gas company. To date, we've still received no applications for 5G. So that's, Tracy, you have anything?
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat what Drew said, but just a couple of follow-up comments for those who were here last week. Probably will hear me say a few things that are the same and some new things. First of all, again, to reiterate, the law that regulates RF health and safety concerns does not come from the FCC regulations. They come from the 1996 Federal Telecommunications Act, which means for over 20 years, cities have been unable to regulate the provision of wireless services based on concerns over public health and safety. So yes, there are legal challenges to the new FCC rules regarding small cell wireless facilities, but they do not touch the RF issue because it's completely preempted and has been for over 20 years. The city is a member of the League of California Cities, is part of the legal challenge to those FCC regulations. But even if we're successful, it will not result in cities being able to regulate wireless facilities based on health and safety concerns over RF. As discussed at the last meeting with respect to that lawsuit, there is just recently the Ninth Circuit put forth a briefing schedule for the parties to submit their legal briefs, their pleadings, their arguments on the case. We are hopeful that we'll have a decision sometime next year on this regulation. Now, someone mentioned tonight that that some people were not able to come tonight because of concerns over RF emissions. I actually, prior to the meeting, talked to our city clerk, asked and my staff if we had received any communications from anyone regarding concerns from attending tonight. We did not receive any, so if there is someone who does have a concern, I encourage you to call the city so we can discuss that. Someone else mentioned that there's 2 law firms that have taken action against the city. I'm not aware of any lawsuits that have been filed against the city. We've not been served with any lawsuits, so I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. There's a lot of suggestions every time we've talked about this is, look at Mill Valley's ordinance, look at Danville's ordinance. And so every time we leave, my staff, we go home and we look at other cities' ordinance to see, does it in fact say what is being presented tonight? And I will tell you that every city ordinance that my office has reviewed has what are called waiver or exception language in it. For example, it might say that a small cell wireless facility can be no closer than 1,000 feet from a residential structure. But that same ordinance also says that this requirement does not apply if it results in violating federal laws or if the wireless provider proves that it needs to construct a facility within 1,000 feet in order to provide wireless services. It's not an absolute rule, and it can't be absolute based on the 1996 Federal Telecommunications Act. I do encourage you to read the actual language of the city's ordinance. Don't trust me. Don't rely on me. Don't rely on what you're reading in the newspaper. Sorry, Mark and Becca. Read the ordinance yourself. It directs small cell wireless facilities to commercial and industrial locations. It designates those as preferred locations. And by doing that, we are allowed to say you cannot put a wireless facility in a non-preferred location unless a wireless provider proves by clear and convincing evidence that that is the only place it can go. By writing the language in that manner, it provides the city ultimate flexibility to put the burden of proof on the wireless provider as to why they cannot construct their facilities in commercial and industrial locations. Again, I encourage you to read the actual ordinance. Oh, and one last thing. Councilmember Bill De La Pena just received some information from a County Board of Supervisor regarding Ventura County's ordinance. Their setback requirement is only 50 feet. So that's all I have for tonight on this issue.
Thank you, Ms. Noonan. Folks, thanks for coming out. Thanks for sharing. We're working through it. You'll take a look. The letter will be posted. I think I gave it to one person in the, I don't have a bunch of copies of it. It was just put out today. So thank you for sharing with us and all your hard work. We're just with you and we're working towards it. So thank you.